This video is an excerpt from our weekly podcast. Go and watch the full podcast, check the link in the description of this video, or support us on Patreon at patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. One of the biggest kind of surprises from this E3 was not so much the announcements of Redfall, but the fact that Arkane are making Redfall, right? So this is a new co-op open world first person shooter with vampires in it. And people are like, well, Arkane, we know them from Dishonored, we know them from Deathloop, although we won't talk about that because it's a PlayStation exclusive. I know them from Prey. Like, all great, solid games, and they've been making games in a certain way for so long, but this is a co-op game. Like, what does this mean? No information on the stream other than this is the trailer and it's CG and we don't really know much. But Pete Hines, the spokesperson for Bethesda Games, let's say, he's been talking to, like I said earlier, GameSpot and IGN, as well as I've taken some information off the blog announcing it too, to kind of fill you in on some of the details. So this is in Pete's words: it's a heavily systems-based approach where it's less about scripted events and it's more about creating cool systems and throwing them in a game together and seeing how well they all fit together. So that's kind of the Arkane's MO, right? They build a bunch of systems in worlds, and they let you out and like see how you interact with the world, and you've got multiple different ways of solving problems and this and that. That sounds cool. The fact that they're sticking to that principle, right?
Yeah, that's what they really honed in on with Dishonored. I mean, they had done games before that, but I think Dishonored was a big like smash hit for them that really put them on the map, because you play as an assassin. I mean, there's 100 games to be played as an assassin, but their way of doing it was, there's the target, figure it out. We'll give you a few different clues, like you could go over here and go into the alleyway and overhear a conversation which will give you information about where the target will be at a certain time. Or you could just run in, run straight at him, shoot him in the face. That's exactly the kind of game design I really like, because it's still got a solid story of you like clearing your name and rescuing the stolen princess, essentially, still giving you so much freedom. And there was a big morality system which was actually intelligent and intuitive beyond just killing bad, saving lives good. It actually changed the way the world played. The more people you killed, the more rats would appear. Now I'm just listing great things about Dishonored, and we need to talk about Redfall.
So that's the biggest kind of realization, is that it's not just like a Left 4 Dead kind of co-op type of game where you've got an objective based, go and do this, whatever. It's more about creating systems and throwing you and your co-op partners in situations and seeing how you deal with it. Pete continues, I think their combat loop is really fun. I think their exploration and their sense of place in the world, as you start to learn more about this scientific experiment that's gone horribly wrong, that's created the vampires and the culprits who worship them. I think that you're going to get more and more of a sense of why this is so fun to play and different from other things that might look like it. It's not the same as some 4-player co-op shooter. It's doing a lot of things that Arkane is well known for and has spent the last 20 plus years refining and honing and getting really good at. PR speak there. It doesn't really tell you much, but it says it's not exactly what you expect from a 4-player co-op shooter, which is good news.
That's what he should be saying. He's doing his job right here. Like, it looks, perhaps at first glance, it's Left 4 Dead with vampires. Okay, what's interesting about that? Oh, it's Arkane. Arkane do really good character action games. That's the spin that we need to, that the framework we need to work around. And it sounds cool. The trailer is a CG trailer. Again, first announcement. Now I'm waiting. I'm sniffing the bait now. Get me on the hook. It suggests that all of the characters, I think there's like 4 in the trailer, have like unique powers. There's the girl who has sort of telekinesis. Like, she makes like an elevator out of purple and floats and then blasts a guy at the end. The chap who can turn invisible. And has a pet bird, which is fun. One of the weapons, which I thought was awesome, it's like a laser beam, like UV light, presumably, because they're vampires and they don't like light. And she just blasts the motherfucker. And he goes all to ash, and the guy shoots him with a steak gun. Steak is in wooden steak, not beef.
Not beef steak.
I mean, maybe it would lure them away as bait. I thought that looked cool, and I could see what they were trying to suggest would happen in gameplay, and I was like, okay, this is one to watch. That looks interesting, but I still need to see more.
So of the details that they have confirmed, that you do, like you said, there's a roster of heroes, each with unique skills. Like you said, there's telekinesis and whatever. I didn't want to list them here because it'd be too wordy. You got customizable weaponry. You can't interchange the skills, but you can interchange whatever weapon you use, which is good. You can play this game solo as well as co-op too, and he stressed that too. And about the world, I got this from the blog. It says, when the vampires took over, they blocked out the sun, pushed back the tides, and effectively walled off the island from the rest of society. It takes place on an island, by the way, trapping everyone who remained. Now vampires rule the town by night, and the human cultists who worship them patrol the streets by day. Not too many people venturing out of safety to check out the boardwalk these days and forget about getting fresh lobster. Co-creative director Ricardo Bear left a few quotes on that blog. He says, we wanted players to have an Arkane experience, but with the option of playing with friends this time. As a result, we thought going for heroes with strong personalities and distinctive backgrounds would make for a stronger game. We think players are going to enjoy not only the interaction of their various abilities as they fight the vampires, but also seeing the chemistry develop over time as they liberate Redfall. So this is good, right? He's saying some of the right things here. An Arkane experience, which is, it says on the blog as well, focused on 4 main characters and their personal stories and how they ended up in Redfall, the reason why they fight, and the stories behind their powers and such like. So although it's a multiplayer game, there's like narrative elements in there too. An Arkane game, but with friends this time. A lot of people want that, right?
That's exactly what they need to keep highlighting, and when gameplay comes out, they need to prove is it's Arkane, the same level as something like Dishonored with your character action or Prey, work with multiple people at a time, or by yourself, because you can play solo, with up to 4 characters to choose from. That sounds great.
A lot of plus. It's saying the right things, that's for sure. So the last thing is more about the vampires or the enemies in the game. These aren't your traditional vampires that are afraid of crosses or allergic to garlic. Bear went on to say, vampires are perennially fun, classic villains, because they're ripe for every generation to reinvent and experience in a new light. In our case, Redfall vampires
experience in a new light.
In our case, Redfall vampires are science-inspired, triggered by biotech or longevity experimentations. So some vampires develop abilities like the Angler, which is seen in the trailer, who uses a psychic harpoon to drag you away from your team. So not your classic, blood-sucking vampires. It's a different sort. I read on the blog that these were like greedy people who went and live on the island, and they were looking for like the cure to eternal life or something like that, and they ended up becoming vampires. And they've all got different abilities, or a lot of them will have different abilities. Different take, a bit like the no zombies in Days Gone, they're freakers, don't call them zombies type of thing. That's our version of zombies.
At least the guy is calling these vampires this time. Like he's not just call them suckers or something stupid like that.
So that's all the information that I've thrown together. Does that, you having not seen any of this beforehand, does that give you a little more appetite for this game?
It's confirmation of what I suspected, I guess, because it's Arkane multiplayer, Arkane good, multiplayer not bad, but just not really my thing. My ultimate question, anytime there's a co-op game, it doesn't matter how good the game itself is. It matters if I know someone else who will play it as well. Especially a 4-player small group. I mean, very unlikely I'd ever be able to find a team of 4. But if I get like one buddy and we play together, that's what makes a co-op experience. Like the game could be really, really shit, absolute shit. People talk about having fun with a game like Anthem because the flying's fun, the basics of doing that is fun, but everyone knows the game's shit. It's glitchy as fuck. There's no content, this, that, and the other. That's the only question mark, I suppose, over any sort of co-op game. I mean, at least you can play it solo, but even then, it's like, is that going to be a lesser experience playing it solo when it's built specifically for co-op? Your reliance on having fun is dependent on someone else, and that's something
that is true.
Can be hard to
but there is a counterpoint to that, is that again, this is going to be Game Pass day one, and there's loads of people on the Discord who will have this game day one. Senri, if you want to jump in with anyone on Discord, they'll be begging you to join in and play with them, because I'm pretty sure the community will be on top of this game. I'll definitely be checking it out for sure, because I played some co-op with the Discord in the past. A lot of fun.
One of the biggest points for me is not just what was in the trailer or any of the talk around it, is the fact that Bethesda closed with this game. Bethesda opened the show with Starfield, which is a very big game for them, people are into it, and they closed with something brand new, so clearly they have confidence in this, that's a good thing to me. That's a strong sign of whatever they're doing at Arkane, Bethesda's like really behind it. So I'm really interested to see where it goes.
Thanks for watching this video. If you want to go and watch the full podcast, head to the description of this video and you'll find a link to our new podcast channel, or head over to patreon.com/prettygoodgaming and get early access.